Nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me? It's a game tonight, and you feel on go. Somebody is baby, somebody is baby. It's a game tonight, and you feel on go. Somebody is baby. It's a game tonight, and you feel on go. Somebody is baby, somebody is baby. It's a game tonight, and you feel on go. Somebody is baby. You won't stop.
Salute, salute, salute. In the building, we're here. It's Saturday. This is your brother, DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you're tuned in to the #1 program on the internet. This is the Rockwell Radio Show. So glad that you are with us. Go ahead and do what we do every time around this time. We're going to ask everybody to observe the 3 standing rules of the Rockwell Radio Show. You know what they are. Hit that like and share button, tag somebody, and by all means, hit that subscribe button. We are almost at our 1,000 subscribers mark. And thanks to you, we're going to hit it soon. We appreciate every subscriber that has taken the time to follow, watch, share, like every and any episode of the Rockwell Radio Show. And speaking of the Rockwell Radio Show, every week I have the pleasure of doing it with my brother, my blood brother, my ace, my producer. Bring on the camera as we do every week, my brother and yours, Big Dave C.
Me?
Dave.
Oh, this guy?
That guy. How you feeling, King?
Man, feeling great, man. Ready for another great one, another good show.
Oh, brother, this week, man, we're about to take him overseas, Big Dave.
Oh.
We're going to take a trip all the way to the UK, my brother. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Put on your seatbelt. Put on your mask, because we're about to take the people all the way to England.
Let's do
because
it.
We got a show today, Big Day Forum, where we're going to learn something. We're going to travel and figure out why the earth belongs to the righteous. All 196,940,000 square miles. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's rock and roll.
Bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dave C. Today, let me just jump right into it while we're here, y'all. We have the pleasure of having a platform that connects the two loves of our lives. I get to be a member of this great nation of Islam. I get to be a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But at the same time, I am an avid hip hop head, born and raised on the 4 aspects of hip hop: b-boying, MCing, DJing, and graffiti writing. It all goes together. And here on the Rockwell Radio Show, we marry those 2 topics and figure out how they connect. But they don't just connect with us here in the States. I learned they connect with us all around the world. Being that it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop, we couldn't help but start reaching over the pond, as they say, over the Atlantic, to talk to our brothers overseas. And we found that they've got some of the same loves, same experiences, same stories that we do. The purpose of this show is to connect Black America with what they call over there the Black British. And the Black British don't think they just got there after colonialism. Blacks have been in Britain since the Roman era, I've studied. And I did a little history here. I did a little look up, if you will, Big Dave. I didn't know, and I have to admit, when I didn't know that. Did you know, Big Dave, that United Kingdom has 4 countries in one? Did you know that the UK is made up of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland? And did you know that the Black population of the UK is just now a little over 3%, with most of them living in England, specifically West London? One of our guests is going to be from West London. Another one of our guests is from Manchester. We're going to talk about what connects Black America and what they call as Black Brits. Check this out. Surprise. Okay, thanks, Dave. We in the States really, I'll say, are unlearned, or we are uninformed about the international scene. The only thing that, and I'll just speak personally, the only thing I knew about London was Big Ben. I had no idea about the rich culture, the people, the history, the geography, the art that existed in other places, in particularly London, England, in particularly UK as a whole. And we're going to meet some brothers today that are going to exemplify that for us. Now, both of the things that I say that we love can be found in this episode, and I'm going to give a great example. In 1988, Public Enemy delivered an album to the world called "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back." I forgot to tell you, I put an art up there of that. If you see it, put it up there for a minute. In that 1988 album, it is set with excerpts of a live concert. And anybody who has heard this great album can tell you, is parts of the album that were delivered or positioned as a live show. Little did I know at that time that that album was being excerpted, or the excerpts rather, were from a live show they had in London, England. And the first verse you hear, the first voice rather you hear, is that of Professor Griff saying, "London, England, consider yourselves warned." And then he says, "Armageddon been in effect." And what did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just say about Armageddon? Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring to you two artists who are not just rappers, but they are messengers of truth who are using hip hop as their vehicle. And we're going to talk about what we have in common with our brothers from overseas. But first, before we bring them on, I want y'all to watch this.
Just one united team, a rough man and Raheem. The American dream is a nightmare, Kareem. Break away clean from Shaitan and Rajim. Turn the turntables, are sewn in our own labels. Killer nigga lyrics, #1 in the charts. The battle's always been for our minds and our hearts. They're at the top of every single industry. Lost souls, sold, implode, be bold, stay on code. You know?
Allow me to introduce myself. It's the B-I-double-L-A-L, that's Bilal. Ricky Hall with the legless challenge accepted. Ain't a 64 but shit, let's get it okay. Assalamu alaikum, yeah that mean peace. Only time I contradict when I beast on the beat. MCR Northwest UK to the world. Treat it right, you gon' lose your girl.
Those are the brothers we're going to hear from right about now. Our brother that we're going to bring to the stage first hails from London, England, who is now here with us in the States. He has an album out right now that he released during Savior's Day called Heart Official Intelligence. Dave, if you could show us that graphic real quick. Heart Official Intelligence. This album is full of bangers left and right, and they lean heavily on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as brought forth by his student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Please welcome, for the first time on the Rockwell radio show, my brother, Hyram Abiff.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, King. Welcome to the Rockwell radio show, my brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Ramadan Mubarak, or I should say Eid Mubarak.
Yes. Eid Kareem now, brother. Indeed, yes, indeed. Sir. Now, we've got another brother with us. This brother, I am so impressed with his drive, his consistency, his music. He has done a series on his YouTube channel that keeps people glued for hours and hours over his sheer talent and his creativity. I'm talking about a brother who hails from Manchester, England. Right now, where it's hella early right now, but he chose to be with his brothers right here on the Rockwell radio show. His current album is called Uncle Bobby. And not only are we going to talk about Uncle Bobby, we're going to talk about what inspired this record and what drives our brother to do what he do. Please welcome for the first time all the way from Manchester, England, my brother and yours, M.N.I.B.
Assalamu alaikum, day family. What's good?
Wa alaikum salam, my brothers. Man, I thank you all. I thank Allah for you both, for your work, for your talent, for your skill, and representing the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, the UK is in the building. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's start with this. I got so many questions and so many things I want to talk about, but I want to stick to my theme. My theme here that I want to hold tight to is finding the bridge between the Black American experience and the Black British experience via the teachings that we live by of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and this great culture that we enjoy called hip hop. So I'll start with asking you both. Some of these questions will be for you individually, and some of them will be for you both to answer. So for this one, I'd like you both to answer. Tell me what is your first earliest memory of being exposed to hip hop? And I'll start with Brother Hyram, then I'll go to M.N.I.B.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Earliest memories of hip hop. I think it's the what's the name of the song? Hip hop hit it. I remember buying that.
Rappers
Sugar Gang.
Yeah, I remember buying that single. I mean, hip hop's 50 years old, and I'm 50 years old, so literally, it's my whole life. You understand?
How to live, of course.
Yeah. So, all praise due to Allah. So yeah, so my early memories is hearing that song, and it kind of just blew my mind. So yeah, that was the earliest memories. Obviously, growing up in school, breakdancing came out. That was influential, and obviously hip hop, rap music in particular, had hit the scene as well, which had a major influence on how I saw things, and even the things I did in the UK, it influenced it much.
All right, Brother Bilal.
Okay. Well, for me, first of all, assalamu alaikum, family. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. So, hip hop, earliest memory. 9 years old, I was living in a place called Old Trafford in Manchester. And this is when cassette tapes from the US, from where you guys are, were making it into England, into my part of England. And one of the cassette tapes that happened to find its way to me was All Eyes on Me by Tupac. So now imagine 9 years old.
All Eyes on Me.
Now track one on disc one or book one is Ambitions as a Rider. Now, what's a 9-year-old boy doing reciting those lyrics, right? My mom, she whooped my ass so bad for that, because I was just reciting the lyrics. I seem to have picked up the lyrics quite quickly,
Right.
So, and even to this day, it's still one of my favorite songs, just for nostalgia, memory's sake. But yeah, Tupac practically gave me permission to tell my story. I was like, okay, so okay, so you ain't asked no permission from nobody, and you're gonna tell it like it is. So when I get older, I'm gonna tell it like it is.
Come on, brother. So, as I mentioned in my opening monologue, I referenced Public Enemy, and that was 88. I was 15 years old in 88, and I was blown away that people in London was up on Public Enemy. I don't know, call it naivete, call it, I don't know what you would call that. But I was surprised. And man, hip hop is kicking all the way in London. What is it? And again, this question will be for you both. What is it that you found as as Britons that you could relate to in American hip hop? What in it did you see yourself in? If you understand my question, I go again with Hyram to Brother Bilal.
Yes, sir.
I'd have to say the connection was Islam that resonated, and I'd have to go back a few steps, and my eyes were first opened by reggae music, being exposed to so much scriptures from the Bible that, you know, I would be in a dance and like I'll get goose pimples all over my body, because I just had an inclination to the truth, to consciousness. So when hip hop hit and it's so powerful, different than, you know, maybe a song that's sung, you've got a chance to put so much information into one song. And that was very impactful. So, you know, Public Enemy, X-Clam, Brand Nubians, even some of Gangstar's music was very conscious.
Come on.
And it really, really impacted me in a particular way. So, yeah, it was really the Islam that resonated with me in hip hop. Obviously, it's being something new, it was fresh, and I could relate to it. It was coming from young people as well.
Okay. And let's go to Brother Bilal. And let me just quickly clarify for the watching audience. I have been referring to Brother by his name, Bilal, but his stage name is M.N.I.B. Brother, would you please clarify for the audience what the acronym stands for?
It simply stands for My Name is Bilal.
Question answer for the watching audience. So go ahead, brother. It's on you to answer that last question.
Well, for me coming up, I mean, like I said, first earliest hip hop memory was me 9-10 years old, Ambitions as a Rider, All Eyes on Me by Tupac. So for me, hip hop from the States was being mass exported to us here. There was little representation of any musicians here doing it until maybe the last 10-15 years. So all we were accustomed to was basically what you guys were doing overseas, and then it was being pushed to us. So it was like, okay, it's good to see that, you know, our people, wherever we are, you know, we're standing up for something. But at the same time, we also knew the agendas that were being pushed, what was selling, you know, certain songs that would have to get promoted at the front just to get seen, just to get a chart position, you know. So I think in my time coming up, because I'm 36 now, but in my time coming up, like a young teenager getting a little bit older, the music was kind of, especially at the forefront, chart-wise, hip-hop, it was more towards, I say, the negative aspects of our culture.
Right.
And the consciousness was still there, but it wasn't as you know, exported to us like that. It was kind of like, you know, quote unquote backpack.
Yes.
You know, like, yeah, the wordies, the nerds. But, you know, we have pockets. You know, we have our Kendricks, our J. Cole's today. You know, we've got other MCs, other hip hop artists who are standing out today. But today on a mass level, it's, you know, it's not the best aspects of our culture.
Facts. Now, let me remind the people that you're watching the Rockwell radio show with me in the building. UK is in the house, y'all. I told you we was coming. We're talking to London. We're talking to Manchester, England right now. What we're doing is building a bridge between Black America and our brothers overseas, y'all. And we want everybody to go ahead and once again to follow the 3 rules of the Rockwell radio show. Go ahead and hit that like and share button. Like, tag somebody that we're on right now. And last but not least, go ahead and subscribe. Yo, I mentioned also in my opening comments about the colonialism factor of Great Britain and how Black people, the migration began from places primarily like the Caribbean. And we hear a lot of the influence in the music. And from what I understand, a significant portion of the Black population of England is from the Caribbean. And we see that and we hear that in the music. So this question specifically is for Brother Hyram. Tell me how that cultural influence shows up in your music.
Yeah, reggae is a big influence on us, and just like even like street culture is, you know, Caribbean culture fused with UK culture. So it's always a part of your, you know, your upbringing. My family's from the Caribbean, so you know, you just grow up with certain references, listening to reggae music on a Sunday. So it has a big influence. And as I said, even before hearing hip hop, there was reggae.
Come on.
Most people would agree that it birthed from reggae music, you know, from the sound system from cool DJ Herc. So, and which is interesting because it was birthed also, I'm talking about reggae music was birthed from blues. So, you know, the black man, woman of God. So we just keep creating and recreating different genres, you know, grime, trap, real, R&B, swing, you know, we just so creative. Original man, original woman. We just keep, you know, creating and recreating. So, so yeah, it's very significant. And to be honest, like, for example, when I was in college, when we would be in a huddle, we wouldn't be like rapping. It was more chatting, like reggae style, you know, because the influence is that strong. However, hip hop really did impact many of us. And then obviously, you know, our thoughts and lyrics would come out in more of a hip hop form and a rap form. And in fact, Brother Bilal, with what you shared, I remember writing early lyrics, and the lyrics would come out in an American accent. Because think about it, hip hop or rap was an American art form originally. So it's just like doing a reggae song. You may not be from Jamaica, but you're going to have that type of, you know, accent, if you will, to make it authentic. So similarly, you know, I used to think of my lyrics in a UK accent, in an American accent, and I think some of the early rappers also, they had an American accent. But then obviously we found our own culture, genres, etc. So it's very interesting that you would actually hear the lyrics in a different accent.
On that note, and this isn't a question I wrote, but this is inspired by what you just said. I'm thinking of the actor Idris Elba, who has the uncanny ability to completely mask his accent like he never had it. And he can be able to do that for a role in a heartbeat. In either of your experience, did you ever feel that you had to mask your accent just to fit in the hip hop context?
For the Parliament, you go.
Yeah, I was going to say that even though it sounds crazy, it was natural to have an American accent because of how you heard the art form. I always personally felt that I had to be authentic, being from the UK, and that I couldn't rap a song with an American accent and then do an interview with a UK accent. It just wouldn't make no sense.
Right.
So I had to, like, you know, consciously think of how to rap with a UK accent, you know, until eventually it just became natural. So so that was, you know, a process in itself.
Okay. What do you say, Brother Bilal?
For me, some of my earlier criticisms for my earlier songs when I was in a group was a slight exaggeration of what people thought was an American accent. They were like, why are you trying to sound like this part of America or that part of America? I'm like, no, I'm just trying to spit these bars. I didn't really see it like that. But when I listen back, I can see that there is, I can see where it could come from, considering where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, no, why don't you rap like your speaking voice? You know, at one stage in my life, I trained to be an actor for a few years.
Okay.
And one of the things that they taught us, like the first rule of acting, is to be heard and understood, learn how to project so that the person in the furthest part of the room knows what you're saying. So for me, it was like, yo, you need to know how to project, and any word that you say, no matter how fast you're rapping, they need to know the words. They need to, without, yo, bro, what was the lyric there? What did you say there? Can I say the bars? So for me, the clarity in the diction is was something that I set myself a target to work towards, so that anytime I write a rhyme, okay, I've written it down, but how am I going to project it? So that in a way that, yo, that's Bilal rapping right there. I don't even need to see his face in the video. I just know that's my brother rapping right there. So yeah, for me, I get the criticism about how we started off here because all we had at the time was hip hop from the States. So
Understood.
like, okay, but for me, when I hear you guys rapping, it's not like you're trying to be American. I'm like, no, you're being yourself. So if you're understood in your accent that you're not putting on, for me it was, okay, the clue or the aim is just to be heard and understood.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. So, okay, Bilal, you're speaking now. You're being heard and understood. Now do the same when you're writing your rhymes and you're spitting your bars. Simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the building with the UK hip hop experience happening right about now. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you're tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show. We've got 5 minutes left in this segment, and I see, Brother Parliament, your camera has shifted a little bit. I don't know what happened there. So
that auto rotate.
Right. Are you still with us, Brother Hyram?
Oh no, he got knocked in his head.
Oh, he's sideways. So until brother comes back, Dave, see if you can help brother. I'll save this question. I'll just ask it directly to our brother Bilal with us. Now, I have yet to visit London. I have yet to visit anywhere in the UK. But this question is about culture as we go to the break. And by the way, when we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about this great body of wisdom, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and how it impacts hip hop all over the world. But this question is about culture, and particularly of the UK and cities. Here in the States, obviously, you got your New Yorks, your LAs, and Atlantas, where they all have distinct character, distinct personality, distinct culture. What is it about Manchester or London or Birmingham, England, that is distinct, that gives it its own sound? Would you say that UK hip hop has its own distinct culture or sound? And if so, what is it?
Yes, sir. Well, I could definitely say now that Manchester, my city, praise be to Allah, definitely has its own culture, its own sound. I believe because we were babies in hip hop, we've been brought up on it. So now we have the grime culture, which is like an offset of hip hop. We have, I think we do have a few drill artists here and there, but I would say the UK Manchester scene has it's a very distinct sound. Some people say that they kind of steal or borrow it from the London, but they say, well, London gets it first and all the other cities pick it up afterwards.
Okay.
London are privy to, first dibs on what's being exported from the States. Mm-hmm. I mean, whether there's any credibility in that, I mean, for me, all I'm saying is that Manchester has an eclectic mix of everything going on. All these little small bars and pop-up spots. Somebody's playing live, somebody's MCing, somebody's playing with the band, somebody's doing some grime and drill, what have you. There's music going on everywhere in this city right now.
Hyram, did you hear the question, brother? And he's down again. he's down again.
Knocked in the head, just like his name.
This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. You're tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show, where our guests are Hyram Abiff, who was sideways a moment ago, and my brother M.N.I.B, which simply means my name is Bilal. He's coming to us live right now from Manchester, England. We want everybody, before we go to break, to once again hit that share button, hit that like button, and subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show, because we're talking to our brothers over in the UK. This is the Rockwell Radio Show. This is UK hip hop, and we are connecting the dots. We are connecting the bridge. And on the other side of this break, Big Dave, what we're going to do is talk about the influence of Islam on UK hip hop. We'll be right back.
What up with it, man? You already know what time it is. It's me, Young Kinda Don. I'm up in this thing.
Peace. This is Aziz, the Kid Kareem, the life-giving MC.
Peace, everyone. This is Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, also known as A-Tone, the hip-hop historian.
Peace, family. What's going on? It's Brother Jabril, Brother Mustafa, Lordship Productions in the building.
I am your sister, Arian Nicole. Peace, peace, peace. It's your sister, Sue X, and you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show.
You are now tuned in live to the Rockwell Radio Show.
Right now, you're listening to Rockwell Radio Show.
Rockwell Radio. If you ain't listening, man, you wasting time. You on all these other stations, you need to tap in. Rockwell Radio.
You know what it is. Watch him, watch him, watch him.
I'm here with Brother Rockwell, the Rockwell Radio Show.
You ain't in the game, you in the stand. Stop playing, man. Let's go.
You're tuned in to the M.N.I.B Hip Hop Network.
You already know what it is.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show. My guest, I'm telling y'all, UK hip hop is in the building with us right now. My brother M.N.I.B broadcasting live with us all the way from Manchester, England. And my brother right there below us real quick is our brother Hyram Abiff. He's from originally London, but now he's stateside. So, brothers, again, I want to thank you for taking time to try to help us build this bridge of understanding with Black America and what's going on overseas with the Black British life. Brother, you had a few technical difficulties, Brother Hyram, and I want to give you an opportunity to answer the last question that was asked. Did you hear it, or do I need to repeat it real quick?
Yeah, I think you mentioned about like the cultural differences. You can hear me, right? The cultural differences with different parts of England. And there's even cultural differences with different parts of London. You know, I remember traveling from one part of London to another part of London, and I could feel the density in the atmosphere change.
Oh. Yeah, brother has a rough signal. Hopefully we can correct that and get him squared away. But while brother is wrestling with that with the signal issue, I want to go ahead, Big Dave, and take a moment again to promote these brothers' works. You can stream everywhere right now M.N.I.B's latest project called Uncle Bobby. Man, this album is phenomenal. I was highly impressed, bro, Bilal. Highly impressed. And we're going to talk a bit more. Matter of fact, while brother is off, we might as well ask you now. And since this segment, we're going to deal with Islam and its impact on our hip hop. There was a record. Matter of fact, it was the one called the last track on the album,
The Story of Bilal.
The Story of Bilal. In that particular song, you deal with a subject that some might feel is even taboo to reference in Islam. It's to talk about the racism that we experience even in the faith. Can you tell us why you made that right here?
Praise be to Allah. I've always been told that, especially a Muslim name, having a name like mine, that's a big responsibility. So constantly being reminded from my mom who I'm named after, because she fought hard to name me, because my mom went through hell. That's another story that I'm yet to tell in music that I've not yet released. Because had my father had his way, my name would actually have been Mustafa. Imagine that.
How about that?
You know, so, you know, at the time, I was like, I didn't know until a few years ago that could have actually been my name. Which obviously we have Supreme Captain, so I wouldn't have been mad now with that.
Sure.
But knowing what my mum had gone through just to name me Bilal, because I was born at a time when the call to prayer was being sounded. She said, I swear to God, when you were being born, I could hear the adhan being called. So I just had to call you Bilal. And I've always wanted to, I was like, you know what, I need to tell Bilal's story one day, the Bilal that I'm named after, the original Bilal.
Come on.
And then I just started reading bits and pieces, and I'm like, okay, now I just need a beat. I've always had the intention, but I needed the right beat, because for me, I let the beat do the talking first before I respond to it. So when I came across this particular beat, it was titled, they called it a Meek Mill type beat. And I was like, you know what, this could be the story of Bilal, this song. Mm-hmm. And I, from what I recall, this was maybe 5-6 years ago that I wrote this song. I did not pull any punches on telling Bilal's story.
I bear witness.
From the first 4 bars, I'm like, you know what's about to happen. There's a section just where the beat changes, where it gets a bit manic. Mm-hmm. You hear me scream in the background, and I'm thinking, how would I feel if a hot boulder was placed on my chest? Do you know? And you just hear me scream. Like when I was in the studio that day, like I really screamed. It wasn't no ad lib for the fun of it. Like I really screamed, like I was in pain, like that was happening to me.
Wow.
And then obviously when we recorded from that point on, I just went crazy. And when you read my lyrics, it says transition, and then I write in brackets, don't forget to go ham.
The irony of a Muslim using the phrase "go ham."
It was crazy. As I get more and more aggressive or passionate in each 4-bar succession, I say, "Don't forget to go ham. Go ham without the pork." Right. just saying all this. Man, but yeah, I'm really happy for that song, and you know,
brother, it touched me deeply. It touched me deeply. Our brother is back. Let's spend some time with him now before we lose him again. Our brother Hyram Abiff, they put his album on the screen one more time. His
Heart
latest
Official.
album is Heart Official Intelligence. Let me give a round of applause for this album one more time. I purchased this album when I bumped into brother at Savior's Day. Little did I know I was going to be playing this album from that day in February to this day right here in April. We're talking about in this segment, Brother Hyram, the impact of Islam on our music. And in your case, you don't hold anything back. You have a track on this album, dear brother, called, oh my God, The Mark of the Beast.
Is that the 9-minute track?
The 9.5-minute track. 9.5 minutes. You pound the teachings, you pound the science of the number 6 for 9.5 straight minutes, no hook, straight through. Tell me the thought behind that record. Please don't tell me froze again, Dave.
Oh. Well, if I may, family, that album is incredible. Like, y'all need to support Brother Hyram. I am Hyram Abiff. You need to get that on Cash App him. Was it $20, $25? And he will send you the album and the book.
It's worth every bit. I wish brother wasn't having technical difficulties so he could tell us more about that song.
Well, I'm a bear witness for him.
Go, brother. Go right ahead now. Come on.
I'm a bear witness for him. That album is incredible. When I heard that earlier today, it reminded me of I need to get back in the studio. That's how impressive it was for me.
Come on.
Like, I have my story to tell, and don't sleep on your gift. My brother, like you said, the way he passionately puts the teachings into it, uses the minister, the messenger, incredible body of work, and the features and the styles, the genres. But his messaging is so consistent. He's so raw and unapologetic. Like, he will major labels are like, yeah, we can't sign him.
Facts, and facts. Well, until our brother gets back, let me ask this question to you, and hopefully I can ask it to him as well. Share with us, Brother Bilal, when you first were exposed to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Praise be to Allah. So I was, I believe, my first year in college. So this is leaving high school. So this is 16 going on 17. So this is when I was introduced to Brother Malcolm through the Spike Lee film. I said this on another broadcast. At the time, I was just lapping it up. So I almost fell in, because I didn't totally fall in with the Disney-fied narrative about the relationship between Minister Malcolm and the messenger.
Yes, sir.
So I watched it and I was like, this is really inspiring how Islam has impacted our family all across the planet. And not just that, but how with the history of the United States from what we've been taught, but yet we have Minister Malcolm and we have Muhammad Ali. Now, at the time, I don't know anything about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at this time. All I was hearing was about Malcolm, Muhammad, and the teacher that they fell away from. That's how it was being pushed. I don't even wish to repeat any of the slander. I don't even wish to repeat any of the Disney-fied narrative. I don't even want to associate myself with it. I just know better now. So when you know better, you do better.
Come on.
So when I started watching speeches and reading about Minister Malcolm online, it got to a point where I was saying to myself, I've seen that one before. I've heard this message before. So even though multiple channels may upload the same speech with a different thumbnail,
sure,
I thought, okay. And then here comes the comment section. So obviously it's at some points in the lecture or message, I might catch the first few comments. So I forget which video it was, but it was a constant theme. Any Malcolm speech on YouTube, somewhere amongst the comments, the name Farrakhan was being brought up. And I'm like, who's Farrakhan? What's this name about? Because at the time, all I know is Elijah, Malcolm, Muhammad. So who's this Farrakhan they're talking about? Let me get done with all these Malcolm speeches first, and I'll look up this Farrakhan. And life changed forever.
And the rest, as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. I'm like, praise be to Allah. Forget whatever you were saying about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in your comments. I got curious enough to go and find out for myself. So if you don't have the patience to watch 4-5 hour lectures and break them down in your own time, I'm like, yeah, because he speaks so clearly with enough time in between each word, he's easy to clip up and then make him sound the way you want him to sound.
That's what the media does.
Yeah. And then I thought, no, this man doesn't mince his words. Kind of like Brother Hyram in his album, doesn't mince his words one bit.
Not a bit. And let me just say, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to already have to do a part 2 because we got to give Brother Hyram his time. His album is too good for him not to be present to represent it. It's too good of a project. So we're always going to say off the rip, Brother Hyram, when you see this again, get ready to get called for a part 2 interview when we work out our technical issues. So Big Dave, if he's back, when he gets back, please put the brother in the best way you can, the quickest way we can. But let's keep rolling. This is DJ Rockwell. You tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show. It's Saturday, and we've got with us our brother all the way from Manchester, England, Brother M.N.I.B, which stands for My Name is Bilal, and his latest EP is out right now. You can stream it everywhere. It's called Uncle Bobby, and I'm telling you, he's got some bangers on there, and he represents the truth all the way from the UK. So, again, this segment is dedicated to the influence of Islam on our culture. I hear the brother popped in again, and we're going to come to him. Matter of fact, we might come to him first.
Let's do it.
But I'm going to say it again, Brother Hyram, if you can hear me, we're gonna do a part 2. We have to do a part 2, and we're going to make sure that you have a clear and clean signal and that you get your time because you deserve it.
Yes.
But for right now, I want to ask him. There he is. Let me see if I can ask him a question now.
Yeah, sorry. I'm having problems technically, so
it's okay, brother. I was saying we're going to do a part 2.
We're going to
do a part 2.
Allah knows. So yes, sir. Where were we?
I was asking you about that magnificent record called Mark of the Beast. Give us your why behind Mark of the Beast.
It was inspired by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He did a lecture called Compton 666. And in that year, there was 666 brothers that were killed, black on black violence, if you will. And so the minister set me off. He gave, the foundation of that song is what he shared with regards to the number and the enemy's world. And I guess the idea was really just to bombard the audience with these sixes. And obviously, it's given to us from the teachings, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who we know now is, the Christ and the Mahdi. So I just knew that I could delve deeper into it. And then everywhere I looked, there was all these sixes. I was like, on the underground, I'm like, wow, there's 6 zones on the underground, like they just started to appear everywhere. Once you start focusing on something, they will, be disclosed to you. So
come on, right.
That was pretty much it. I mean, the song on the album is a remix, but that song was written like probably 97. So
wow.
In the UK, I got a lot of love for that song. Like, people like Ty, may Allah be pleased with him. I remember him hearing me perform the song and he was just blown away. He was like, how long did it take you to write that? Like people's minds, they couldn't comprehend such, And obviously the teachings gives you that level of even the approach of a song, It's not like your average, So, and people, often mention nature of the threat because it deals with like the history and the type of song it is. So, yeah, that was the inspiration for it. And so I did a remix because I know many people may not have heard it. So it's kind of a disservice to the song, if you will. So I'm like, let me do a remix. Let me update the beat, and so yeah.
So the one that we're hearing on the album is the original or the remix?
The remix.
Okay, I got to get the original too now.
Yeah, the original was done like, as I said, it was like around 97. Around 97.
Oh man, I'd love to hear it. Would love to hear it. I'm a fiend. I'm a collector of that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. So if you listen close, like the references are like that time.
There's
Tony Blair don't care about our affairs. So Tony Blair was the prime minister at that time, for example. Yeah, got 6,000 advisors whispering in his ears. So and that's like literally true.
That was so powerful.
The prime minister has 6,000 advisors. So yeah, so that was the inspiration behind it, brother.
Because we lost so much time due to the technical issues, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with you. If that's okay, Bilal.
Of course. Okay. I want to hear from my brother too.
That record, again, we in hip hop, obviously, it's a commercial entity where we want to sell records. We want people to hear the music. We want it to cover as much ground as possible. That record is anti-commercial. There's nothing commercial about it. It's straight pound, straight grind for 9.5 minutes. With your music, and particularly that song, you obviously didn't care about trying to reach mass consumption. Why?
I think sometimes, like, I was never into hooks. I was more into lyrics, to be quite honest with you. Like originally, like you remember back in the days, people were like, we don't need no hooks. People were like that was the hook.
Right.
Do you understand? Like it was about lyricism. I come from like Nas's era. So
come on, man.
Hooks, it ain't even about a hook, to be quite honest. Obviously now, the time we're in, it's all about the hook. Do you understand? Outside of what Brother Bilal said, which is the beat. And for me, the beat's like everything. Like for me personally, the beat is everything. Like if the beat's right, like, oh my God, like it's a pleasure to write to it. Like you're excited to handle this song, So for me, that's the foundation of it. But today, it's about hooks. And then if you got a good beat, a good hook, then, the verse is anticlimactic. But the time I came up, it was about like, line for line bars, So Mark of the Beast is on, that kind of, level where it's line for line bars. And the hook, like, the concept can override the need for a hook.
It compensates.
Song Rewind. He did a song, He's a Gun. Like these concepts, like they're not ordinary songs, like, So the ordinary thing that's done, it gets put to the side. And it didn't make no difference. Like people like blown away. Like they ain't listening for no hook.
Man.
Brother, like back in the day, very good rapper. And he heard me like rhyme it. Heard the lyric, and he like invited me on his show to do it, like perform it and whatever. And again, like just people blown away, So praise be to Allah, brother. Praise be to Allah.
I want to ask you the same question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can only come from Allah. I did it at an Orthodox event, and they were saying it's from Allah, like and they don't believe in the teachings, but it's so impactful that you got to give the praise to Allah, man. Like who else?
Come on, brother.
You understand? We didn't give ourselves these gifts, So Allah, He speaks for us. He does it through the minister, and He does it in little pockets through others. He does it through the minister all the time. But we get little snippets, we get little sound bites, that we can tap into. So yes, sir.
So, brothers, we're nearing the end of the show. And again, I hate that we lost you for so much. And brothers, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and petition you now for a part 2. Maybe we can keep this conversation going. Of course. Because this is,
if your audience wants us to come back, we'll come back.
Come on, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So for you who are watching right now, if you want to see our UK brothers back on the Rockwell Radio Show, go ahead and put that one up in the comments real quick, because we got to get our brothers back. Put that one if you want to see UK hip hop back in the building. Brother Hyram, I'm going to ask you one question that I asked brother in your absence. When did you first hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by Minister Farrakhan?
Okay, so first time I heard the teachings was around 91. And my older sister she was the lead vocalist for a world famous group, Loose Ends.
Say
so
that.
She sung, you know, Don't Be a Fool. She sung Time Is Ticking, Look How Long. So Loose Ends, for those of you who don't know, it's like the first R&B group to bust in America, to, you know, make it big in America before even Soul to Soul. So so music's always been around me, but she gave me my first Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan tape. Brother Bilal mentioned cassette tapes, you know, TDK cassette tapes we had back in the day, but this was a video format, so it's VHS.
Yep.
So she gave me the tape, and like it blew my mind, like the minister, man, it blew my mind, like, and it was something that I was always looking for. Like my life was in a mess, like just living stupid, like real ignorant, you know, like I couldn't even fathom like having a job. Do you understand? Like that's how like out there I was, you know. So it impacted me, man. And I just told people I'd become a Muslim, but I wasn't living the life. But I was talking Islam. So at a certain point, like, you know what? I gotta put up or shut up, you know. And it's interesting because my sister's not, you know, a Muslim in the nation necessarily. She's not a Muslim, like, period. Sure. In that regard, but she was the vehicle that was used, you know, and I always thank her and remind her, you know, it was through you, you know. She may, you know, applaud me for certain things, and I'm like, you turned me on to the minister, like, you know, that's a big deal. So it took me a minute, you know, heard the teachings. I came in 1995 and actually, you know, joined, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Quickly came into the ministry, and you know, obviously when you're a rapper, you know, ministers, you know, DJ Rockwell. I was in Atlanta the other day as well, you know, brother. We should have connected beforehand. Okay. Yeah, I saw you was with the processing brothers at the front of the queue, leading them into
the mosque.
Easter. It was the Easter, because we went to a family event down there, so we came to the mosque.
I'm so mad at you, brother.
Yeah. I should have reached out before I came down there. And there's so many believers from our mosque down there now as well. It's so interesting. But as you know, Atlanta's, you know, it's an interesting place. But we had a great time. But the point being made, it impacted me really heavily, and like just changed my whole world. You know, I went back to college because of Islam and got myself a degree.
Come on.
Married today. All of the children I have are in Islam, you know.
Brother, don't get better than that.
Yeah, I touch on it on a song called The Love Foundation on my album, some of my history of my life and stuff. So that's when I came into Islam, and it just changed everything, brother. Like changed everything. Like how I think, how I eat, you know. People don't believe I'm 50 years old. I was with a brother the other day. Yeah. The brother looked at me like, he was like, I said, I got a daughter, 21. He was like, 21? So how old are you? And he just like was froze for a minute, bro. Like just looking at me. Like I felt like awkward, you know? But you know, that's the teachings. Like, I mean,
come on, brother. And matter of fact, we're talking age real quick. Your brother's gonna be 50 this June. So come on, man. The objective is 50 and fly.
Yes,
50
sir,
and fly. That's what we're going for, brother.
Yes, sir.
So we are at the end of the show. And I want to again thank you both so much for taking time. Thank you,
bro.
Because we're trying to build this bridge, man. Because our people are connected all over the world by a life-saving teaching and a world-shaking culture. And I want to close by asking you both this question. And we shared in the green room before we went live, is that you all hadn't met each other formally before now. But unbeknownst to I guess to either of you at this time, you all have a common connection that just dawned on me today, that you all have a common connection. Brother Hashim Hakeem. So as we close, talking about impact for Muslims, share with me your experience of working with Brother Hashim.
Brother Parliament, you go first, beloved.
Okay, yes, sir. I've always admired his work, you know. He's one of the standout artists that we have in the nation, you know, and obviously the historic freestyle that he did with DMX and Jay-Z. So, yeah, I've always had love. I see him as a big brother, you know, and so doing an album, I wanted him to be a part of it, you know. We toyed around with a few different things, and yeah, he changed up what I gave him originally, you know. But he killed it. Like We the Righteous, probably it's one of the most prominent
tracks. That record coming and going.
All praise due to Allah. A lot of good feedback for that song, but like what he did on there, bro, was beautiful, you know. So I've got a lot of respect for him, you know, a lot of love for him. We've always got time for each other. So yes, sir, that was, you know, that was one of the highlights, you know, of the album, being able to work with someone like that. So yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Brother Black?
Yes, sir. Oh, before I answer that question, I just wanted to say, when you asked me about when did the teachings impact my life?
Yes, sir.
I didn't give a year, but it was roughly around, so leaving school would have been 2003, going into college would have been 2004. So we're talking 2003 to 2004 is when I found Minister Malcolm, going on to the Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Okay.
So as for Brother Hashim, on We the Righteous, by the way,
crazy.
He showed off on that track. Like he was flexing, like his wordplay, his patterns, his breathing control, his technique, and his little incredible songwriting ability.
Yeah, he killed it. He killed it.
As for how me and Hashim did a collaboration, I think if memory serves me correctly, I actually proposed a collaboration for one of my songs, but it didn't work out. The timing just didn't work out. So, but then Hashim had a song, and he sent it to me. So he had seen my second 64-bar challenge, which was the Shook Ones by Mobb Deep, and he
I love that joint.
Praise be to Allah, and he said, you know, something like, we must collab, we must work, something in the comment section. So I just like, okay, you said it, let's do it. So he sent me this beat, and I think he just sent me a little, the brief was like one sentence. The ghost of Nat Turner, you are Nat Turner. I'm like, okay, you're not really giving me much to work off with the Hashim, but what, I mean, again, similar to the story of Bilal, I believe I did my best at that time with the ghost of Nat Turner in terms of channeling that energy.
That record goes hard.
And just roaring on the microphone, just going for it, because he was debating, do I put Bilal at the beginning or the end? But he decided to put me at the beginning. I think it was a great choice. And then to have Sister Heck of a Mecca in the middle. Now that sister, I've always wanted to collaborate with her. So I didn't know that she was going to be on the song. So I was like, oh, great, praise be to Allah. So now, you know, 2 collaborations in one song.
So you didn't know she was going to be on the record?
I didn't know. I did not know. She is incredible. And she will mop the floor on 99% of UMCs out there.
Facts on facts.
Pregnant too. When she's pregnant and when she's not pregnant, she was, man.
She's remarkable.
She's incredible.
Remarkable.
What a gift, you know, rapping, singing. Man.
Well, brother, as you saw, that record certainly made my mixtape favorites.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, praise be to Allah.
We are in the building, closing out, ladies and gentlemen, with UK hip hop in the middle. Oh, he lost his camera for a minute, but he's back. He's back. He's back. Brothers, I want to give you all the final word. I want you to tell the people where they can find you, follow you, and hear these incredible records that we're talking about, because UK hip hop is here to stay. They're in the building. So the NY Hip Hop Network is now officially in England. So I'll start with my brother Hyram, and then we'll go to Bilal for the last word. Where can they find you, follow you, and get your record?
So on all social media platforms, I am Hyram Abiff, spelled HYRAM ABIFF. That obviously includes YouTube as well. And my website is iamhyramabiff.com. So we have a special as well. If you purchase the album today, I have a book and album package. And so the album costs $15, the book costs $15, together they're $25. But anyone who purchases today will take off another $5. So that would be $20 for the album. So you're getting a book and an album for $20. And it's exclusive. It's only available on my website. Like, I'm not giving money to these streaming platforms. Period.
Come on now. Come on.
Now, the middleman, like, we go to the source. So, yeah, support your brother. And the minister said that we should feed our minds Islam. And he said that to our youth. So, you know, this is an alternative to the enemy's music, to the enemy's world, that they are watchkeepers on and keep us in the gutter. But this is a time for us to rise up. So I just want to thank you, DJ Rockwell, as well, for your foresight and for your vision in having 2 UK artists on your show. Because oftentimes we don't think outside of North America.
Come on.
Sometimes I hear it in the language because I'm not from North America.
Mm-hmm.
But it's often only the minister that speaks universally.
Teach.
But many of us in our immaturity, and I understand everything happens in degrees. We just think North America and just see North America. But you've shown foresight in, you know, seeing your brothers that are not just in America, but this is a global mission. You know?
Say that.
The minister's a universal, you know, messenger. So he's for the whole planet.
Come on. My brother.
Brother
Bilal, that's on you, black man. Let's go.
Yes, sir. For me, you can find me at all social media, official M.N.I.B. Official, my name is Bilal. That's how you're going to find me, M.N.I.B. everywhere. At this stage in time, I'm about 40 or so subscribers or followers away from 1,000 on Spotify. So if you're all on Spotify, follow your brother, support your brother. If you're on YouTube, I think I'm about 6 or 7 subscribers away from 4,000. Subscribe to your brother's channel, 117 videos. So you got plenty to catch up on, family. Come on, tap in with me.
Come on now. And feel free, by the way, to share this video on your YouTube channel. Feel free to do that. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, all of the links they have mentioned will be found in the description area of this video. So click away, support. We are now over time by 7 minutes. And brothers, I thank you. I thank Allah for you. I thank Allah for your dedication, your art, your commitment, and your zeal to help our minister. This is DJ Rockwell. This is the Rockwell Radio Show. And Big Dave, once again, we are out of here.
Malaika.
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. The radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. That means you too. Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. Subscribe. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show.
It was a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Stop tripping.